Hello and welcome to Let's Play Dead Space 3 Blind. I am Recluse Yark, and I will be your host for this evening. And I really hope you watch this in the evening, because this is a survival horror game. I hope you have turned off all your lights and sitting comfortably in your chairs as we venture together into the Dead Space universe. Dead Space 2 was probably, it's one of the games I had most fun LPing. If you haven't checked out my Dead Space 2 LP, I recommend you do it before you watch this one. You get the hang of how I play the game, and you'll see that. Well, let's talk about scares for a moment here. I am, let's say, when I played the first Dead Space back in the day, I was not used to horror games whatsoever. I actually actively avoided them, because I know I was really easily startled and scared. But along came Dead Space, and I am a sci-fi nut. I love sci-fi. I like the Alien movies, and you know, zombies are alright. I like those too, and these are like space zombies and horror. And sci-fi. So I thought to myself, okay, if I'm going to try a horror game, and I had played the Marine campaign in Alien vs Predator before, and that scared me. But this game looked much scarier. But I said to myself, okay, I really like the main character. You know, he's an engineer. He looks cool. The visuals were awesome, and the settings seemed really cool. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna play Dead Space. And I kid you not when I say that going from one end of a corridor to another took about 3 minutes. And it didn't even have to be a long corridor, because I was so scared. I was I was actually inching my way with my back towards the wall, and jumped for every little thing. However, that game kinda hardened me a little bit. Why is my mouse cursor moving without me doing anything? That's kinda unsettling. Okay, anyway, that game hardened me a little bit when it came to horror games. So when I play Dead Space 2, I wasn't that scared. I mean, as scared I was in Dead Space 1. And I think that's a good thing, because I don't think being that scared would make for a very good LP. It was quite silly. In Dead Space 2, I think I had the correct amount of scared. I was very tense throughout the game, and if you watch it, you can see me getting scared quite a few times. And going into Dead Space 3, I know this game is more action-packed, that's what I've been told, than Dead Space 2 and 1. And because of that, you know, the scare factor might be turned down a little bit. For me, personally, I don't really have a problem with that. I like to be scared, and I hope that this game scares me. But for me, at the moment, the Dead Space franchise is about the characters and the history and the lore. I want to know what happens to Isaac Clarke and Ellie. I'm that guy who I went into the Avatar movie for all the effects and the war and the pang and bang bang, but I came out of the cinema really loving the romance scenes. Yeah, I'm that guy. I love a good romance story. So, Dead Space 2 left it kinda, open if Ellie and Isaac Clarke had a relationship. But I'm hoping they have one, because she's just my type of girl. She's awesome. And I'm hoping that their romantic aspect is getting someone involved, get involved into the story somehow. But of course I want scares too. Of course, this is a survival horror game, and there's bound to be scares. I don't think you have to worry about that. Which brings me to the next point on my list here. I will be playing this solo. I had plans to make this a co-op campaign, but unfortunately I couldn't get hold of people who had the time or had played the previous games, or they were otherwise occupied or with other plans, and that's okay. At first I was like, oh no, why? What if I miss out on awesome story stuff because I don't have a co-op partner? So I looked around on the internet a bit, see what people thought about the co-op campaign versus the solo campaign, and what I found was that those who have played both campaigns, at least for the first time, they recommended the solo campaign for the Dead Space experience. It was more tense, as you didn't have anyone watching your back, and you were all alone. And after reading that, I didn't feel so bad going solo. So it's just going to be me, Isaac, and you guys standing behind me watching me game. And I think we're in for quite a ride. So grab something to drink, or grab your partner, your boyfriend or your girlfriend, sit down in the sofa, grab a few pillows or a blanket, get comfy, and let's start the Dead Space adventure. But first, I believe it's here. There we go. Previously on Dead Space. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
It all started 300 years ago with the discovery of the Black Marker, an alien artifact found under the old Gulf of Mexico on Earth. It seemed to hold the promise of limitless energy until it produced dementia, insanity, and a twisted life after death known as necromorphs. The details of the original Black Marker disaster were buried in cover-ups and conspiracies, but not before an entire religion could be launched in the name of one of its researchers, Michael Altman. His questionable death turned him into a martyr, and unitology was born. To this day, it thrives, a secretive organization that believes the markers are divine, and their plan for us, a glorious unity of mind, body, and spirit.
They're insane.
Generations after the Black Marker disaster, mankind found himself going extinct from lack of resources. Desperate, he sought to replicate the Black Marker in an attempt to harness its limitless energies for himself. The records of this era are unclear, but we now know the replication was successful, but the cost too high. The marker copies were all buried, hidden in secret places across the universe where, to all our benefit, they might have stayed. But 200 years later, during an illegal mining operation on Aegis 7, the planet cracker USG Ishimura unearthed one of the forgotten copies, a red marker, and with it, the start of a new wave of marker infections. A key survivor of that incident was an engineer named Isaac Clarke. That marker spoke to him and left him with a gift, a mental blueprint of the marker itself. Isaac was captured and tortured by EarthGov, his mind harvested for the Marker's secrets. The Marker program was thus restarted, and a new one built on the populous Titan sprawl. The disaster quickly followed. He managed to escape, but just barely. There was nothing left but dust, just like Aegis 7.
And there we go. And now it's time to start the solo campaign. I'll just go through a few settings and I will be back with you shortly.